Back to the phone lines. We'll talk next to Bob in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Hank. Well, I guess my question is going to be about evolution and evangelism, too. The same thing, sort of related. The more I come to know God, the more I am burdened for not evangelizing. And I am just thinking, I know you really focus a lot on evolution, and I thank you very much for it, because it was a stumbling block for me for many years. And I guess what it comes down to is that about the only evangelism that I've done is with my children. Of 5 children, 4 of them, I try to start out the conversation with evolution and to show how ridiculous it is, and they just get angry and they don't want to talk about it, and it baffles me. And I guess one of my first questions would be, you mentioned once in a while about people who are not saved. They like to prefer the darkness rather than the light. Is there a verse in the Bible that correlates to that?
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the conversation that Jesus had with Nicodemus in, I think it's John chapter 3, where Jesus said that light came into darkness, but men loved darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. So the real issue from the perspective of Jesus Christ is not that there's not enough light, but that men love darkness, which is to say that no matter where you are on planet Earth, you have the light of creation. Added to that, you have an internal light, which is the light of conscience. And if you respond to the light of creation and the light of conscience, God will certainly give you the light of Christ. So it's never the absence of truth that damns, it becomes the despising of truth that damns. Why do we love darkness? It is because the moment there is a creator God, we become accountable. And then, instead of being sovereigns of our own universe, there's a sovereign God to whom we will give an account for our lives. And this is one of the reasons that we seek to obscure the light of the one who spoke, and the universe leapt into existence, but also the light of the one who knit us together in our mother's womb and who invaded time and space so that we could know him intimately and personally. But we want to take the issue of origins and not simply win that debate, but use it as a springboard or an opportunity for sharing the truth and life and grace that only Jesus Christ can bring to the human heart. And that's why I developed this flip chart. It's a handy tool that you can give to your kids and say, you may want to consider this. They can look at it for themselves. Now, you can't force feed them, but you can offer it to them. If they don't want to take it, then there's no compulsion on your part, because, we're not called to convert anyone. That's the province of the Holy Spirit, but we are called to use the means at our disposal to open people's eyes to truth. This is how I committed my life to Christ. It was through finally becoming open to looking at the evidence that God created the universe. And what I do with this acronym is, number one, I start with the F that I talked about with respect to the first caller, the fossil record, which is an evolutionary embarrassment. Then the A stands for ape men, fiction, frauds, and fantasies, which most certainly abound. In fact, the icon has become the argument today. You see the icon of the knuckle-dragging ape that turns into a human being through various stages, and you say, well, there you have it. But this, again, is a dogmatic assertion. It's not a defensible argument. The R stands for recapitulation, which is both racist and revisionist. This is the idea known by the evolutionary cliche, ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. The idea that the emerging embryo goes through all the evolutionary stages. At one time, it is a mere creature and finally becomes a child. Again, the racism implicit in this is absolutely horrifying. Harvard's Stephen Jay Gould noted that recapitulation served as the basis for Dr. Down in labeling Down syndrome as mongoloid idiocy because he thought it represented a throwback to the Mongolian stage in human evolution. And then there's the C, chance, that which happens without purpose is the sense in which I'm using that word, which renders macroevolution not only improbable, but impossible. And finally, the E, which represents empirical science, which supports the biblical model for origins and actually ends up militating against the evolutionary hypothesis. So again, this becomes a memorable way where someone can get the cliff notes, as it were. They can look at it. It becomes memorable, and now they're responsible for either denying truth or seeking to explain it away, or, as I did many years ago now in 1979, bowing my knee before the self-evident creator of the universe.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And again, for everyone listening in, the flip chart, Memorable Keys to the Farce of Evolution, available. You can get your copy at equip.org.